The world is watching what's happening in the Middle East. Iran and Israel have been exchanging attacks overnight. But the real question now is how Iran will respond to U.S. involvement over the weekend.
We've got Douglas Zader live for us from Washington. President Trump is preparing to meet with his national security team at the White House a couple of hours now. Doug, good morning.
Good morning. That's right. And the president on social media this morning wrote, "Everyone keep oil prices down. I'm watching just one potential aspect of the fallout from this bombing attack on Iran." One by one, U.S. B-2 bombers touched down back at their home base in Missouri, following 30-hour-plus round-trip bombing runs on Iran that could forever change the Middle East.
Final battle damage will take some time.
Over the weekend, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was cautiously optimistic about the impact of the 14 massive bunker-buster bombs that were dropped on the Iranian nuclear facility at Fordo. And while before and after photos can't show how deep the damage is, President Trump wrote on Truth Social, the biggest damage took place far below ground level. Bullseye.
Our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change.
The vice president and other administration officials say the U.S. is not seeking now to topple the Iranian government. But the president left the door open, posting, "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" And on Capitol Hill, where support for the attack falls mostly along party lines, there will be questions this week over whether the president exceeded his authority, bypassing Congress for authorization.
America was lied into a war in 2002 against Iraq with a Republican administration giving us false information about Iraq's weapons program. I have grave concern that we're going down the same path.
And back to this issue very quickly on potential regime change. The administration as a whole was very careful to be consistent in messaging over the weekend that regime change was not something the U.S. was pressing for. And then we had the president posting on Truth Social yesterday that why not regime change? The White House was asked about this. The press secretary this morning saying that the president's posture on this front has not changed. He's merely suggesting that it should be up to the Iranian people to carry out regime change. Back to you guys.
Which just shows that, you know, the opinion matters there in Iran, how they believe these attacks will impact their country. What I found fascinating also, Doug, was, you know, we spoke to you on Friday. The president had said at that point that he was going to give 2 weeks to make a decision. Right. And then fast-moving developments over the weekend, the incredible amount of secrecy that there was in this. And then we just find out, really, the attacks happen and then, you know, that information released to the world.
And when you look at just the scope and scale of these attacks, yes, it was it's being described as a one-off, but still more than 100 aircraft involved, all of those B-2 bombers that had to fly that round trip. This is an attack that has clearly been in the planning stages for a while, even just as a contingency. And, you know, the president said 2 weeks, but he also said up to 2 weeks, which didn't rule out the possibility of something happening, obviously, on Saturday.
But there are reports that that same day that he said 2 weeks, plans were already in place for this bombing to take effect. So all of this was done by design. All right, Doug, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
And do stay with Good Day LA for continuing coverage of the U.S. strikes against Iran and Iran's expected retaliation. We have Alex Michelson joining us in just a few minutes to talk about local implications, reaction, and security measures being put in place. You can also find updates on foxla.com.